Materials in UNIGINE are the assets that control the visual appearance of nodes, interaction with lights, reflection parameters, etc. Applied to a surface, the material brings together all necessary shaders, textures, and parameters. UNIGINE's advanced physically based hierarchical material system includes base materials, implemented by programmers that store a set of material properties and refer to fragment, vertex, and geometry shaders. These materials are read-only, and user materials inherited from the base materials and adjusted by 3D artists. UNIGINE provides a rich set of built-in base materials out of the box. This set can be extended when necessary. Each base material can be assigned only to the types of objects it was intended for. First, let us learn how to create materials. We can create a new material asset via the Create button in the Asset Browser window. When creating a new material, you should choose the base material to inherit it from. We'll use the default Mesh Base material, which is a physically based material. As we click Inherit, a new asset is created in the Current Assets folder, and its preview is shown as applied to a default sphere primitive mesh. Let's rename the material asset via the corresponding field of the Parameters window. Below, you can see a set of tabs containing the parameters available for the selected material. Common tab contains general settings, including transparency presets, visibility and behavior options, and others. States tab contains a set of flags and options used by shaders. Here we can select the workflow, enable various effects, etc. It is recommended to use New Metalness workflow, as the specular one is kept only for backward compatibility. The next two tabs contain textures and parameters that are used by shaders to render the material depending on the states enabled. Here, for example, we can change the albedo color. When we create a new mesh, it has the default mesh-based material assigned. We can check this in the Materials section of the Parameters window that displays the parameters of the material assigned to the selected object. To change material settings for our mesh, we must assign a user material that was created before. To assign a material to a surface, we just drag the asset either to the corresponding field in the Parameters window or directly to the desired surface in Scene Viewport. In this case, you will see a preview of what the material would look like on the surface that we're dropping onto. Now, we have a user material assigned, and its parameters are available for adjustment. Let us increase metalness and decrease roughness to make the ball look like it was made of a polished metal with intensive reflection. Via the Textures tab, we can assign all necessary textures. Just click the folder icon next to the desired texture and select an asset, like we do for albedo. Another way to assign a texture is to drag a texture asset from the Asset Browser directly to the corresponding field in the Parameters window. Or just type the name of the asset in the field. If an asset with the specified name exists in the project, it will be shown while you type, so you can pick it in the drop-down list. We can reset any parameter by clicking the cross button next to it. Like we reset the albedo color back to white. We can increase roughness and the reflections will become less intense, just like in real life. Physically based rendering provides more accurate and typically more natural-looking results. Note that the surface, which refers to a deleted or non-existent material, is shaded with bright red color, making it easier to notice a problem. Let's have a look on a bit more complex mesh. It consists of several surfaces, having the mesh-based material assigned by default. We will create a new material for each surface, so let's make a folder to store them. We just select the surfaces one by one and click Inherit for quick creation of materials. Let's rename each material after the corresponding surface. Once we're done with creating materials, we can assign necessary textures for each of them. It is important to use appropriate textures to ensure correct visual appearance of the surface. Albedo texture should go to the albedo field, normals to normals, etc. After assigning textures, we can adjust other necessary parameters to achieve the desired result. Now let us have a look at managing materials hierarchy. To toggle the materials hierarchy window, use the corresponding item in the Windows menu. This window displays the hierarchy of all materials used in your project, with base materials at the top level. User materials can be inherited from other user materials, thus forming a hierarchy much like in object-oriented programming. Let's clone our car to illustrate how it works. We inherit a new material from the existing one by right-clicking it and selecting Inherit, and assigning it to the second car. The child material inherits all the parameters from its parent. All of these parameters can be overridden just like the albedo color that we changed. When we change any parameters of the parent, the changes affect all its children except for parameters that were overridden. The cars have become metallic simultaneously while keeping their colors. This is how the hierarchical material system works. We can create a general parent material for a certain type of objects and adjust common parameters while keeping the ones set for each of the objects individually. As an example, let us enable emission, assign the same emission texture and specify parameters for both cars by changing the parent material, and then override emission color for a child. For detailed information on parameters available for each particular material, please refer to the online documentation.